What's up, fellow Grow Givers and Prosperity Partners? JuJuan Buford, Manager Partner, JSB Business Solutions Group. And what I want to talk about today is actually some practical advice I gave a handful of entrepreneurs, either in panels I participate in or just quick, one-off discussions. One was actually a hairstylist, business coach, graphic designer, an accountant. And what they were really looking to do was either relaunch or pivot in their business, right? And the bottom line is all three were kind of sort of beta tested. And I'll get around to that in a moment. But they had taken on clients and they were just ready to create more consistency in their business. And they're like, look, what are the top couple things I can do to bring about the results I'm looking for? And look, at the end of the day, this is kind of like basic entrepreneur one-on-one advice. I didn't have time to do a deep dive because I was participating in a panel. So these really are little small bites, right? These are like small plates, if you will. And so, of course, look, if you have additional questions, you want additional context, you know what to do, right? Subscribe, like, share, hit me up in the comments. We can continue the discussion. And, once again, sharing is caring. So please let the algorithm know that if you like this content and you believe it's of value to others, please, by all means, share. So with that being said, one of the first pieces of advice I gave them was, look, you need to do a project 1000. Now, normally I've said historically you do a project 100, but the bottom line is in order to get a good presentation or be able to get access to 100 people who are willing to really sit down with you, you're going to need to contact at least 3 times that many people. But the real reality of the matter is you need to do a project 1000, meaning you need to prospect. You need to refine your sales process, your pitch, how you communicate your value proposition at least 1,000 times. Right? So why do you need to do this? Because once again, you need to be able to beta test not just simply your product or service, but just your approach overall, your branding, how people respond to you, how your words land with individuals. And this process is extremely important because at some point when you're looking to scale, you got to have a track for people to run on. You need to have scripts. You need to have a tried and true way of communicating with the outside world about why they should part with their hard-earned currency and do business with you. And look, in the beginning, your process that you're working out, that is your brand. The way you treat people is your brand. Your deliverables, if you will, is your brand. So often I see individuals before they've even taken on 5, 10, 20, maybe even 30 clients, they're investing in websites, they're investing in branding, trademark, copywriting, making all these capital expenditures. And look, I'm not going to dissuade you from doing that. But what I am going to say is if you're not generating revenues on a regular basis, if you don't have a system or a process for attracting clients, onboarding clients, delivering your goods and services to clients on a consistent basis, you're going to be dying by a million cuts. You're investing in all these different things and you're not generating enough revenues, or you're generating only enough revenues to support the resources that you're paying for. That's not a recipe for success. So a lot of entrepreneurs, particularly when they're either launching, relaunching, or pivoting, this is one of the common errors that they make. All right, number 2. Once you start bringing in revenues, it's time to go ahead and set up the LLC. It's time to set up the S Corp or C Corp. Consult with an attorney, consult with a tax professional as to which one will make the most sense, right? And if you don't have one, follow up with me. There are plenty of resources out there that can provide these type of resources for business owners that are bootstrapping or quite frankly just looking for a more efficient way of getting access to technical expertise. But look, you want to do this. How you structure your business has serious tax consequences, has serious consequences in determining how you move. But also, I'll just plant this seed as well as to why it's important, because some individuals really put this step off to their detriment for an extended period of time, a lot longer they should. Once again, once you've been beta tested, you've gone through your project 1000, right? You've approached and prospect over 1,000 people. You're taking on clients on a regular basis. You have a process for doing so where you can lay a track at some point for individuals to join on board with you, right? When you're ready to scale, grow from a team of me to a team of we. But what I'll plant with you is this. I remember a conversation I had with a client of mine who's a Nigerian business owner here in Detroit metropolitan area. And he shared with me, he said one day, Mr. Buford, you're smart and you're intelligent, but you got to be fat, right? And I kind of looked at him, I was like, be fat? Like, what do you mean you need me to be fat? And he wasn't saying go out and earn enough money to put another 68,000 pounds on my behind, right? But the metaphor was salient because what he was saying is, look, in my country, where I come from, if you're fat, that means you're eating, right? That means you're eating. You want to be the same way, right? People like to do business for other people who are successful. Business owners like to do business with people who are business owners. The way you show up matters. And if you are structured in a certain type of way in terms of your business, where people can go online and they can see you actually have a business entity that exists, they can actually see that you're a business owner, that you took the time to invest, right? It helps you in terms of developing credibility. It helps you in terms of individuals take you more seriously. And that's why it matters as well, okay? Definitely the tax situation matters, but getting on top of your P&L statement, not commingling money, having a process to track your accounts receivables and accounts payables. Because here's the thing, your business could be generating revenues and not be very profitable. And this is all part of the process for how you show up, whether it be at a bank, microlender, private investor, or just talking to other business owners of course, your dealings. These types of conversations are going to come up, right? And you need to be adept at having those conversations. You need to be structured properly so people see you as a grown adult. All right, now let's talk about number 3. Once again, I see this so frequently. I had a discussion with these business owners, and they went out and they spent like over $3,000 on a website. And when I went to the website, all it was at the end of the day was an expensive business card, right? And I think a lot of times new business owners feel this need to go out and expend a significant amount of monies on websites, when the reality of the matter is, look, the pandemic did not change. Did change a lot of our buying behaviors. And people are not going to go back to the way things were. Most people are going to learn about your business via social media. Nowadays, that's just the way it works, right? I met with a couple of business owners yesterday while being involved in a business trip out in Ann Arbor. Jumped online. They were all over my social media. They did not go to my website first. They went to my social media first. People utilize social media to decide whether or not they like, know, and trust you. They go to your website to see the grandiose business card. Now, let me tell you how this is supposed to work, right? So you have a social media account. You're sharing your value prop. You're letting people know why they should do business with you and why you're in business in the first place, beyond just making a profit, right? What's your impact? How are you going to turn someone from a zero to a hero, if you will? What's the problem you solve? They go there to look for consistency of messaging. They go there to see whether or not you're passionate and proficient at what it is that you do, right? And then by the time they make their way to your website, they've kind of already made a buying decision. Keep in mind, people do business with folks whom they like, know, and trust. So if they sifted through your social media and now all of a sudden they're leaning into your website, it's to do 1 of 3 things. To make a buying decision. They want more information, right? In which you should be inviting some type of email list, some type of contact manager, if you will. Or they want to reach out to you and have some type of interaction with you to clarify something, right? So basically, they're going to your website at that point to engage, the uber majority of the time. And that is smart. You need to have a website, make no doubt about it, right? As we found out with a lot of personalities recently, you don't own the space on social media. Okay, that's not your real estate. So if somebody hacks your account, you get into a dispute with someone, for whatever reason, the algorithm stops liking your content, whatever the case may be, you don't own that real estate, so you really don't determine the rules. You need to have some real estate that you own. You do need to have a point or some type of placement out in the world that's completely independent of social media. So something heaven bitch transpire, you're not dead in the water, right? And having a website's important for that. So really, you need to be utilizing social media to attract, and you need to be leading them to your website so you collect the data, collect the information, which means you need to invest in a CRM at some point, right? So you're beta tested, you're taking on clients on a regular basis, you're structured properly, you're showing up as a business owner, you're looking fat, right? And now you are collecting data. Whether someone says yes, no, or maybe, you are making sure that you have a means to contact them independent of social media, right? And that's very important. And if you have an interest in learning more about CRMs, how to utilize a CRM and to actually grow and expand your business and create more consistency, definitely check out the notes in the description or the comments, right? So that was the other piece of advice that I gave them, which I thought was very relevant and important given their circumstances. And then, of course, if you're going to scale, at some point, you got to become capital ready, right? You can't fund your business continually, indefinitely out of your back pocket using personal finance and personal credit. And I kind of referenced this earlier, right? You need to get familiar with your P&L statement. And I'm not myopic. If you want to deal with a bookkeeper, tax, accounting, you want to use QuickBooks, whatever the case may be, we can have an offline conversation about that. But you need to get familiar with your P&L statement. You need to become intimately familiar with it. It doesn't mean you need to become a specialist. It doesn't mean you need to be a tax and accounting professional. But you need to understand your cash flow. Operating agreements. If you have a LLC or DBA, and then once again, I'm not an attorney, consult with one, right? So don't be making decisions just based on what you're hearing here. Consult with an attorney, consult with a tax and accounting professional. Let me just say that repeatedly over and over again, right? Make sure you have your bylaws in order if you're a corp, right? Make sure that you understand what corporate minutes are. Make sure that you, once again, are showing up a certain kind of way when you're dealing with individuals. Oftentimes, business owners will be generating revenues, but they're not fundable, not because their business isn't earning money, not because they don't have a track record of success, but you're just not showing up properly. And that piece is very important. You know, taking the time to understand how Dun & Bradstreet can help you build your business, making sure that you understand your paydex score, right? All these different things, factors that impact your paydex score, which is, for all intents and purposes, your credit score for your business, right? Getting familiar with these things. You don't have to become an expert, but get familiar, understand the process, understand the game you're playing, okay? And then I'm going to say something that's very controversial here towards the tail end. And I'm really going to lean into this because it's a mistake that entrepreneurs make frequently when, once again, relaunching, launching, or pivoting. And that is, I'm going to be so transparent. Look, the common denominator of success, all other things being accounted for, is your work ethic. You're going to have to work your face off when you're launching your business. The big mistake entrepreneurs make. You have to launch, right? And have the conversation you need to have with your family. Have the conversation you need to have with your friends. Have the conversation you need to have with people where those conversations need to be had and let them know what's going on. And you need to really launch your business, right? I compare launching your business to like an airplane taking flight. When is most of the fuel being expended? Where are you going to encounter most of the turbulence in the ideal world? It's on liftoff, right? It's because that plane is fighting gravity. That plane has to get off the ground high enough, has to reach a certain altitude where it avoids the trees, avoids the buildings, but where gravity becomes less of an issue. You have to reach a point where you can actually begin to kind of coast a little bit. But so often entrepreneurs are trying to coast right from the beginning. No, you got to expend the fuel. You got to get off the ground, right? You got to move with speed and boldness. You have to share what it is you're doing with hundreds of people, right? To get to a comfortable altitude where then you can take a breath and coast. But oftentimes it becomes a grind because you never really launched your business. You're playing around with this thing. No, do your Project 1000 and don't take 3 and 4 months to do it. Take 2 weeks if you can to literally approach, engage 1,000 people. And once again, I'm not being myopic. You use social media, fine. You knock on doors, fine. You cold call, fine. Use referrals, fine. Use ads, fine. But you need to be beta testing at a very quick pace. You need to be failing forward very, very quickly, learning the lessons and fine-tuning your process as quickly as possible, okay? This is so absolutely important because what ends up happening is people start dabbling and messing around in their business and life starts happening, okay? Death, disability, car accident, divorce, something going on to child school, something goes on at work if you're doing this part-time and trying to make the transition to full-time. Life is not going to stop happening because you made a decision to become an entrepreneur. You have to launch. You have to lean in. You're going to have to put yourself through the stress and strain so you can reach a comfortable altitude when life happens. It isn't so detrimental to your business where you personally, because you start out as a team of me in these examples before you grow to a team of we, where you personally can weather the storms that are inevitably going to come, and you've built your business to the point where at least you have some space, if you will, for life to transpire. So these were the top things that I broached that I thought were of great value. Hopefully it served you well. Once again, if you like the content, hit the like button, hit me up in the links if you want additional resources and tools, want me to elaborate upon this. And look, I celebrate success in advance. Goodbye for now.